Want to know if your Spanish skills are improving and what your real learning level is? Get your language skills assessed with our free level assessment test. Just click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get assessed.
Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember the word for yes? Sí. Sí. And the word for husband? Esposo. Esposo. Do you remember how to say my husband? Mi esposo. Mi esposo. Do you remember the word for son? Hijo. Hijo. Do you remember the word for daughter? Hija. Hija. Now, do you remember the word for and? Y. Y. And the word for me? Yo. Yo. Do you remember how Karen says, my husband, my son, my daughter, and me?
Mi esposo, mi hijo, mi hija y yo.
Mi esposo, mi hijo, mi hija y yo. And the word for family? Familia. Familia. And the formal phrase for your family? Su familia. Su familia. Do you remember how Miss Hernandez asks, is this your family?
¿Es su familia?
¿Es su familia? Now, do you remember the word meaning wife? Esposa. Esposa. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say good morning? Buenos días. Buenos días. And how to say good afternoon? Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. And how to say good evening? Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Do you remember the word for female teacher? Profesora. Profesora. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready?
Do you remember how to say, see you?
Nos vemos. Nos vemos. And do you remember how to say good night? Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Do you remember how to say Have a good rest. Que descanses. Que descanses. Finally, do you remember how to say see you soon? Hasta pronto. Hasta pronto. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud, then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say excuse me to get someone's attention? Disculpe. Disculpe. And do you remember how to say yes? Sí. Sí.
Do you remember how to say, "May I help you?" Literally, tell me.
Dígame. Dígame.
And how the passenger says, "Yes, may I help you?"
Sí, dígame.
Sí. Dígame. Do you remember how to say thank you very much?
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. And how to say you're welcome? No hay de qué. No hay de qué.
Do you remember how to say, "Sorry"?
Perdón.
Perdón. And do you remember how to say it's no problem? No hay problema. No hay problema.
Let's review the key vocabulary.
Muy bien.
Very good.
Muy bien. Muy bien. Más o menos.
So-so.
Más o menos. Más o menos.
Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember the word for how? ¿Cómo? ¿Cómo?
Do you remember how Mark Lee asks, "How are you?"
¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás? Do you remember the word for fine? Bien. Bien. And do you remember how to say thank you? Gracias. Gracias.
Do you remember how Jorge Soto says, "Fine, thank you"?
Bien, gracias.
Bien. Gracias.
Do you remember how to say, "And you"?
¿Y tú? ¿Y tú? Do you remember how to say very good? Muy bien. Muy bien.
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head.
Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can Do course.